Hi, I'm Simon Hill and you're watching Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV.
Hi, I'm Daniel Mullen, former Adelaide United player and Asian Champions League winner with Western Sydney Wanderers. When it comes to any of my soccer needs, I do my shopping here at Soccer Locker. An Australian-owned and operated business, the store is located at Shop 5 of 181 to 183 Grange Road, Findon. Founded in 2017, Soccer Locker was introduced into the market to fulfil all the soccer-related needs of Australians, providing a huge range of quality clothing and equipment ranging from soccer balls, team kits, goalkeeper gear, accessories and much more. Recently arrived stock also includes stunning retro kits from some of our favourite past eras as fans of the world game. Soccer Locker is a specialist in premier range boots, Adidas and Puma, goalkeeper gear and licensed merchandise. Visit us online at www.soccerlocker.com.au with free delivery Australia-wide. So get shopping now at our Findon store, open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday and open Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
G'day guys and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios, coming to you today with a preview of the original derby and what a match it's going to be, joined by long-time passionate supporter and regular Purebred Reds contributor Chris Adams from Melbourne. Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, good. All sported out already. I've been to a few sports games already. It's Melbourne during winter or this sort of period is pretty fantastic. You got like 4 games of footy every day and then A-League as well. So yeah, we're getting my sport fix for the year in this weekend. But yeah, I'm very keen for today.
Good stuff. Good on you. And tell us just what the mood's like over there amongst Adelaide United fans. You're obviously travelling with plenty of fans today.
Oh, mate, I actually have never seen more South Australians just randomly in Victoria in one point. Because today there's Port Adelaide playing Collingwood and then United playing Victory afterwards. So I've just been walking around. I'd bumped into 3 South Australians in our hotel lobby, just like through random conversations. And I have never felt more at home in Victoria before. So there are South Australians. I've been wearing my Moles Balls kit here and there, and I've had people from across the road call out to me and say, "Yeah, come on, United," and stuff like that. And so it's, I feel like we're really invading this town at the moment, and I'm loving it.
I'm loving hearing that. Dob in some of the more notable fans that you're travelling with or that you're hanging out with in Melbourne at the moment. Get it on the record.
Yeah. Well, we've just got your usuals. The Antonis, my good friend Antonis Pagonis, Robbie Matheson's travelling over, Greg McKellar, Taylor and McClement. There's such a big contingent of United fans, so it's looking to be a really big one, and I'm absolutely excited for this one today.
Well, Chris, let's get straight into it. It's a 5:40 p.m. kickoff at Amy Park tonight, and in terms of squad news, there's been a few people that have been named: Joe Coletti, Yaya Dukali, Michael Jacobson and Pacific Nyonga Beardare. Interestingly, Mohamed Toure has been left out, did not travel, played in the NPL with his brother yesterday. Now, Chris, let's discuss all things relating to this game. I just want to ask, so the game against Perth Glory, it must have been quite a draining loss, not just because of the fact that we obviously missed out on 3 very big points, but to dominate a game of football for that entire first half. Really should have had it in the bag and then end up losing and having to travel straight after, going from west to east in a matter of days. Must be very, very draining and taking a toll on the players.
I think so. I'm hoping to see a response after that Perth Glory game, because I feel like in the last few weeks, we're just sort of making so many chances, and obviously we're only been taking one of them. But one game, it's going to come where I think we're just going to absolutely explode and score 3 or 4, like we were in that 6-game run where we were scoring probably 3 or 4 goals every game. That Perth game, look, I don't need to sort of recap it. Everybody knows how it played out. It's disappointing, obviously, and it was a really key game. But we just need to make sure we've got 3 games left. One of them's away, and it's certainly a winnable one. And the last 2 are home. So we need to just make sure we put that behind us. hopefully get a bit of rotation in the squad as well, because I'd like to see couple of boys who are doing well in NPL, couple of the players who are sort of on the fringe of the squad. I think it's time that we sort of do a little bit of rotation. So hopefully we see a bit of that today and see some fresh legs.
How do you think Carl Veart would have gone about managing the team post-game in Perth? Because obviously you can get the hairdryer treatment out after you don't win a game that you really should have won. But when you're in this position where you've got to travel straight after, you haven't been rotating the squad that well, and you've got to go play a massive game against the biggest rival, where 3 points is really quite vital for Adelaide United, really. Do you think he almost was obliged not to give them that kind of treatment and just sort of give it more of a pass to the players because of the fact that you just need them on side as much as possible going into this big game?
Well, you hear everybody says that coaches only probably have 3 or 4 big sprays every season after a bad performance. And I think that now, especially as you said, we've got games coming so quickly. It's the 2nd or 3rd week in a row that we've had a midweek game. And there's no point trying to pin it on the players to lose that morale, because if you start losing your head as well as your bodies, because the bodies are obviously very sore from that travel, then all of a sudden you've got a recipe for disaster. So it's I think it's just hopefully been a more positive attitude. It's let's recognise what we've done, learn from our mistakes if we can, and look to the quick turnaround and just try and recover and just try and get mentally prepared for Sunday. And ultimately, I hope that the playing squad is in good morale ahead of this game.
Now, you mentioned squad rotation before. Al Hassan Toure played last night in the NPL. So can we expect to see Cassini Yengi play 90 minutes today, considering the injury of Tommy Juric? And how do you think he'll line up today?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think undoubtedly Jakobsen will start at the back. I'm hoping to see Moroni start as well. Javi Lopez again. I think we really need to shake it up a bit. So I'm not sure about our midfield, because our midfield we've been certainly changing a few players. I think Mork. I think Mork starts if he's not carrying an injury. So we could see potentially 4 or 5 changes, and I'm not sure about the forward line, but certainly the likes of Goodwin and Halloran last week against Perth looked very, very tired, especially in that second half. And it actually looked like, I'm not sure, maybe it was something that the commentators picked out. I think Goodwin actually, he looked good, looked fantastic, as always. He looked a little tired, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But it's just something that the commentators picked out. But we could potentially see, I'm not sure who played in NPL last night, apart from Al Hassan and Mohamed Toure, but could be looking at maybe a Yaya Dakuli or a Pacifico Nyongabiri play. And I think it's been a long time coming for those two, because they played a lot off the bench and starting games earlier on in the season, and then this sort of middle to late bulk of the season, they haven't been playing at all. I'm a big fan of Nyongabiri. I want to see him play, whether it's 30 or 40 minutes or it's him starting tonight to shake it up. And I also think it's worth seeing Yaya Dakuli play, because he's been fantastic in NPL. I've watched him almost every week this season, and I think he's been one of our better players. So if we're looking at a perspective of we need to rotate, we're coming up against our biggest rivals, but they're bottom of the table and they're having their worst ever season. It's not the worst game to bring in a couple of these NPL players who we know that they can do a job on the senior level, but it's not the worst thing to do to bring him in this game, especially when we need to rest some senior legs.
Think about what you're saying, though, Chris. So we're in a bit of a precarious position here, and one that we've never been in before, travelling to Melbourne to play Melbourne Victory, our biggest rival, where we are actually in a position where it's incumbent on us to get 3 points. If we don't get 3 points today, top 2 is basically done, and we could be clinging on to top 6 come next weekend if we don't win today in Melbourne. So considering that dynamic and the fact that we've never really had it in the past, are we in a bit of a precarious position, and is it dangerous to go with the lack of experience like you suggested there just before?
No, I stand by exactly what I said. I think I would have no issues if we start rotating, because we can afford to do it against Melbourne Victory. I think last week they had somebody, I think it was Barnett, playing it right back out of position. He's a midfielder. If they do the same thing tonight, if they have players playing out of position and whatnot, and have Lee Broxham as centre back, stuff like that, then why wouldn't you try and rest some legs? If it doesn't work in the first half, bring our senior players on in the second and try and make it come good. But we're in a very, as you said, it's a precarious situation, but it's an interesting one because I feel completely in control at the moment. I feel like we can actually afford to rest some legs and really play with the squad a little bit because we're not playing a top 4 team. I know Victory have shown some signs of improvement, but they played on the same night as us in Perth. They're going to be weary as well, and they've got a way more injury hit squad than we do. So we can afford to play some younger players, and I stand by what I said just then.
It's a members recognition game for Melbourne Victory tonight. Also, I believe it might be the last big game they sort of play this season at home. Are you expecting Victory to be up for this one, or certainly a lot more up for it than they were the last time we met?
I think so. They didn't put a particularly good showing in against. I think they played Sydney recently, or whoever it was. They didn't really offer that much. So I'd expect that if we can start, I know we'll be hopefully rotating, but tactically should be the same. Should be get out early because we had a very slow start against Victory last game. Should be getting out early, trying to push them and trying to actually take a couple of these chances. Because if we take a couple of chances, we go 1 or 2-0 up in the first half, they're going to have to start chasing. And we know how poor defensively they are. So they start chasing the game in the second half. They're going to leave holes. And that's when, if you leave the experience on the bench, you bring the experience on and you go into game management mode and make sure you see this result out and maybe get a couple goals. Or if you start the experience, then you bring on a couple of young players and then get them on the counter attack. There are so many different ways that we can approach this game, and I'm confident for the first time in a very long time that we can hopefully get a result.
Got to ask you for a prediction, Chris. I know it's a bit silly because you always predict an Adelaide United win, being the fan that you are. But got to ask you, who wins?
I don't see any other result other than a win for us. Hope that doesn't come back to bite me. I think tonight we'll get some more goals than we've seen the last few weeks. It's been sort of building up. Had a lot of wasted attacking energy that is eventually going to just sort of explode. And I'm thinking tonight it's going to happen. So I reckon we'll get three goals at least.
Who scores?
I think Yengi. He's guaranteed. I'm sure he's guaranteed to start, especially with no Al Hassan or Mohamed Toure in the squad. There's no other striker that we can start. I think Yengi scores and Craig and maybe Steph, because I'm sure Steph should be starting today. So I think those three are probably going to, at least one of them will score.
Well, Chris, we got to let you get off to the pub. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy attending the game tonight at Amy Park. Should be an absolute blast.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the game.